All right, good afternoon, everybody. If you are here in the US, we say good afternoon to you. If you're in Ghana, Nigeria, Sierra Leone, Liberia, we say good evening to you and welcome to Liberia Shall Rise. And I am your co-host today. This show is segment today is for Dr. George. He's going to be having a one-on-one with Professor Isaac, who is going to be joining us from Liberia. Hopefully, we can have the connectivity to work, and we are going to be having a broadcast. So let me bring Dr. George on. This is his segment. Mr. George, how you doing today, boss?
I'm doing fine. Good evening, friends on Facebook, YouTube, wherever you're watching us. Please share the show. We appreciate that. I'm doing great. It's a wonderful day. The weather is nice. It's a quiet weekend, so I'm okay.
Yes, sir. Indeed, the weather is nice. I mean, if you see me sitting outside, that means the weather is nice. It's not too hot. Yeah, but yeah, I'm looking forward to the conversation today, and I'll be chief engineer. I'll be in the background, and I hope we can have connectivity to cooperate so we can actually talk about higher education in Liberia. Because my understanding, my layman understanding of higher education in Liberia, I don't know much. When I left from Liberia, I think only 2 or 3 universities I knew about. Wow,
Yeah.
my understanding, they have a whole lot going on right now. So hopefully we have the opportunity to talk about that today.
Yes, we will. Hopefully, we will get Dr. Podah to join us this evening. I know I see the other flyer will share for the program. So those of you watching won't have Dr. Leslie Tenny. He's coming on another edition with us. We won't have him today, but we're going to have Dr. Acid, who is at the University of Liberia graduate program. So we're just going to have a conversation about the whole thing of higher education. Hopefully, we all learn about what's going on in the country. We develop from there. As you know, we try to just get a story behind the story. So that's what the conversation will be all about.
Yeah, yeah. So what I will do, I will go ahead and just play our theme song while while
Yeah,
the theme song is ongoing. We just ask you, the viewers, we have a lot of academia. We have a lot of people in the diaspora who are interested in education, and most of you guys have written some papers and you have given opinions on what you think the education system in Liberia should be like, especially our secondary and tertiary education sector. So your input will be very invaluable. So if you want to call in, we'll have a number you can call, and hopefully our guests can come on today and we can get that going. But let me play our theme song, share the broadcast as we wait for our guests to join us. I'm going to change it up today. I think I'm just going to play Sweet Liberia. I love this song.
Whoa, 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 whoa. Love is all we need to make it see. This is the time to come together. Keep Liberia safe forever. So open up your heart, let the unity begin. Love is all we need to make it stand. Let's cultivate one another. Learn to live together as brothers and sisters. Without togetherness, we won't have a peace of mind. Unify and have a peaceful, sweet Liberia. Land of liberty is our home. Keep it standing. This is the one and only home that we have. Sweet never be so home. Change is all we need to make a stand.
Okay, good evening, ladies and gentlemen. It's good. Welcome again to another edition of Liberia Shall Rise. This is a special program on cover. So good afternoon, good evening. My name is Emmanuel George. I'm your host for this segment on Liberia Shall Rise called Uncover. And I'm grateful that you have allowed me and my colleague, Mr. Sheriff, to come in your living rooms or your house or wheresoever you're driving today to have this very beautiful conversation. Each week, we are confronted with hundreds of hours of news content that sometimes leave many of us wondering whether there is more to the story than the sensational headlines. We also realize that behind each headline, there's a story that has a human element to it. Uncover goes beyond the headlines. It discusses the issue in detail with players within the fields or in the sector, and the aim is humanizing the story and bringing the nitty-gritty of the story to the forefront. This week, as you listen to the news, you may have heard that the president of the University of Liberia, or the nation's oldest, highest institution, was terminated, and the government is in search of a new president of the University of Liberia. You may be wondering what is the case of the higher education in Liberia after hearing that news. So we at Uncover was also very, very interested in knowing what the situation with higher education is in Liberia. So today, joining us via the phone, he's been difficult to get, is Dr. Isaac Podah. Dr. Isaac Podah has a PhD in public administration, and he is the president of an organization that is geared towards academics. But Dr. Podah is also an editor of the African Public Administrator magazine. So he's going to join us via the phone, and we're going to have this conversation. Mr. Sherry will join me along in this program. Maybe we'll have one-on-one as we go along. Dr. Podah, welcome to the show. How are you today, sir?
Thank you, Dr. Emmanuel George. I'm happy to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
That's great. I mean, it's excited to have you, member of the academia in Liberia, joining us on this awesome program this afternoon. So let's start our conversation by perhaps allowing our viewer to know a little bit of Dr. Isaac Podah. Can you just introduce yourself to our viewers?
Yeah, sure. Dr. Podah, I graduated from the AME Zion University, bachelor degree in public administration, and I also graduated from the Cotton University, that's master's in public sector management, and I had an opportunity to travel to the Philippines, where I got my doctorate, DPE, doctorate in public administration. So if you look at it, it's vertical, BSc public administration, master's public administration, and doctorate public administration. So I got the Outstanding Paper Award in the Philippine Societies of Public Administration that presented the paper. That was an academic conference. So I got that award there. And I've also lectured an editorial board member of the Pan-African Journals of Social Sciences, this in Nairobi, Kenya. And I'm also the lecturer at the Adventist Universities of West Africa. I'm responsible for research and collaboration. I'm also lecturing at the graduate school, UL, teaching governance and research. Also, Quantitative Graduate Program. I'm also teaching organizations of the government of Liberia. Yeah, and also serving as acting president for Change Agent Network University. So basically, that is, I'm an author. I have published books, articles, and co-author books. Some of my publications, you have Introduction to Public Administration in Liberia, Save the State through Proposition 6, Trusting the Political and Bureaucratic Systems of Liberia. I think Dr. Joshua, one of those who peer reviewed that manuscript, that book. I remember when I was in the Philippines. After I wrote that thing, I sent it to you, to few scholars, and you're one of those who responded positively. And so, the success of that book, you contributed a lot. Also, an author of the citizenship and elements of government in Liberia, and then also a co-author of the book, re-author rather, the rudiments of research methodology, a multidisciplinary approach. Yeah.
Thank you for that introduction, Dr. Ponder. And it's great to have you. You have followed the rules of going up in the different chains, and you bring in insight because you seem to be a very basic man working at the University of Liberia, Advantage University of West Africa, and at the Cotton University College. Now, let's try to follow Liberian higher education setting, and we're going to look at it from the various way how higher education is seen around the world, and see where you think Liberia is, and have this conversation around it. The first thing that triggers me today, I went to look at the ranking of universities around the world. I went to Time Higher Education Research that launched the ranking of university around the world. And I couldn't find a ranking of any university in Liberia on that ranking of the Time Higher Education 2024 ranking. And then I decided, okay, let me leave from the world and come to Africa. So I went to Time ranking. Time has 120 ranking university in Africa. There is no university in Liberia that is on that list. So I went to the next ranking institution, which is EduRank. And in EduRank, the number one university in Liberia, which is not surprising, is the University of Liberia. And EduRank ranked the University of Liberia in the world as the 5,445th university. In Africa, it ranked the University of Liberia at 189. So that's the number one university in Liberia. EduRank ranked the second university in Liberia, the United Methodist University, which is 10,407th in the world and 500 in Africa, the 500th in Africa. And Cotton University came third, which is 10,415th in the world and 501 in Africa. And then the African Methodist University came fourth, which is ranked at 12,272 in the world, 72 in the world, and ranked 728 in Africa. So I'm wondering, especially looking at the ranks of universities in Africa, I know most ranking university, the first 10, most of them are from South Africa. One is from Nigeria, two are from Nigeria, and then one is from Ghana. As member, looking at the university system in Liberia and looking at this ranking, what comes to your mind? Why do you think there are challenges with Liberian university not ranking even among the first 100 university in Africa? Hello, Dr. Ponder, can you hear me? Oh, I think we went off with him. We're gonna call him again. We're gonna join him again. The lines went off, so we're going to join him soon. But yeah, that's what I found out, right? That there are 33 universities, recognized universities, at least with NUC 2014. I shows them 2014 universities have increased in Liberia. But the National Commission of Higher Education in Liberia recognizes that there are 33 universities in Liberia from different, how they call it, there are 3 public universities, Nema University, Totman University, and University of Liberia, which is the number 1 ranking university in the country. And then yeah, to the Ponder, do we have you back now? Sorry, we
Yeah, sure, we have, yeah.
Okay. So did you hear my question, or you want me to repeat the question?
No, I think I got you. You were trying to look. You said you did a research, and you were trying to look at the rankings of universities and how in Liberia you look at 10,417, all of those things. So you were trying to locate the rank of Liberia in Africa. You talk about Nigeria, you talk about Ghana, and others. So I think there where I stop. So I think where you are driving is what is the state of higher education in Liberia? I think that is the most important question. Now you have done your research and as you understand that nowhere we stand and looking at our positions when it comes to universities around the world, what are the problems? This is a good topic, very interesting one that we all need to debate and we all need to intellectualize. You want to know the state of higher education in Liberia? Is that also?
Yeah, I want to ask you, in your opinion, before we go to the state of the higher education, in your opinion, what is the reason that counting universities, Liberia is not ranked among the 100th university? There's no Liberian university among the 100th university. The number one ranking university in Liberia, the University of Liberia, is 189th. The second ranked university in Liberia is the United Methodist University. Is the 500th ranked university in Africa. The third ranking university is Cottington University. Is the 501 ranking university in Africa. The fourth highest ranking university in Liberia is African Methodist Episcopal University, where you graduated from. It is ranked as 728th in Africa. So I'm sitting here wondering, what do you think that we don't have any Liberian university ranked amongst the 100th university? I was one of the between 1 to 100 university, the first 100 university in Africa.
Yeah, so it's simple, Doc. I think in my mind you already have the answer, but to intellectualize this discussion, yet I will give my opinion. This is very simple. Publication. We don't have our lecturers, publishing, because I believe that to be ranked, you need to have your professor who have made tremendous impact on education. They have published books, they have published articles, and they have attended international academic conferences. But do we even in Liberia, the state? I'm lecturing at the state university. I'm yet to see a journal since I came. Since I've been in Liberia, there is no academic research conference that has been held at the universities of Liberia, and yet I stand to be corrected. And I have not seen a journal from the universities of Liberia. Let's go back to Cottington. Absolutely no journal. Okay, so the platform is then created for our professors, to publish, to attend academic conferences. So I believe these are fundamental problems that we have. So you see people over there, you call them professors, it will surprise you that you enter the university, look at the range. But when you go to University of Liberia and Cottington, everyone is calling you professor. Once you enter the classroom, people call you professor. But what are the criteria set up for becoming a professor? Nothing. No encouragement. No platform for intellectuals, for scholars to publish papers.
Okay.
I believe this is one of the major problems.
Yeah, again, I totally agree with you, because when I went to look at the ranking of universities, there are several ranking your research or resource output, your non-academic repetition, the staff, your notable alumni, the impact you are making. And you're right about research. But what surprised me is that, and not surprising to me, because you talk about research and you say there's no publication. But according to EduRank, in 2024, there was 618 academic publications reported by the University of Liberia. And out of those 618 academic publications from the University of Liberia, 11,102 of them were cited, which is a very low citation for that level of publication anyway. But 11,102 of them were cited, which is, again, citation is impact. It is what we get from writing. When you write, you want to know how many people look at your research, how many people were able to use your research in doing other things. But in the research era, it seems like University of Liberia is doing great. You work there and you are having question mark about that. But according to what University of Liberia reported, there was 618 academic publications at the University of Liberia. What do you say about that?
Yeah, because I'm at a state university. My point is that as a state university, you should be able to create the platform for your lecturers to publish papers. So you have not had any academic research conference. It is important that you create the platform for professors to grow. You see, but that is not the case here. I think those publications you're talking about, maybe professors who went out while studying abroad and they submitted paper to other journals and it was published, Maybe that's the case. But as a university, it is important for them to create the platform for them. But that is not the case in Liberia. The Advantage University have had 3 international academic research conference, where scholars write papers and teaching their lecturer to do scholarly articles. But like I said, you talk about that is even very low for your research. That is very, very low for beyond universities in Liberia.
Yeah, but so, if I want to take the question, if I want to take the question further, Dr. Podah, I thank you very much for that. But if we want to take this question further, on the 19th of February 2021, the University of Liberia had a ceremony where 31 faculty of the institution were recognized, and they were given packages for their research output. One of them was the former Minister of Agriculture and now your Vice President for Academics, Professor Zina, and several of your colleagues, including a good friend of mine, Professor Lester Tenny. They were all acknowledged for their publication. Don't you think that was an encouragement, the University of Liberia trying to encourage those of you who work there to continue publication?
Yes, well, I would say that's an encouragement. That is not enough. What I think they should do is to have an international or national journal where you can have academic research conference, for your staff to publish. That has not been done. They are encouraging. I think they need to do more. They have to do more.
Okay. Now, one of the next thing about looking at the higher education, the three universities in the country, how do you go about scrutinizing this university in your opinion? How many most universities should have the least on their staff is a PhD holder. If you can find PhD holder, it's a level of master's degree, and then perhaps you have a master's degree person who is in research. When you look at these 33 universities in Liberia, how many PhD holders do we have in the country at these 33 universities? I'm sorry, the line is grinding, so we can't hear you. Dr. Podah, can you hear me clearly? Oh, hello?
Can you get me? Hello?
Oh yeah, we're hearing you now. Now it's clear. Yeah. So how many do you have any idea how many PhD holders we have in these universities, in 33 universities in the country?
Well, obviously I cannot tell you the numbers of PhD holders in Liberia. No, I can't tell you that. But I know we have few here at UL. A lot of PhD people are claiming PhD, but we are yet to scrutinize the degree to know who have a legit PhD. So I cannot tell you the number of PhD holders in Liberia. Like for Advantage University that I know, I also there because that's a very small university. And so I know that we have over 8 PhD holders in that university. In Liberia, I cannot tell you the amount. Even in Cottington, where I graduated, I can tell you the amount of PhD holders there. I think the Higher Commission, I don't even think Higher Commission has record on the numbers of PhD holders we have in the country. So we have to do that research to come with it.
Yeah, well, we tried to do that on the station. We cannot find a website for the National Commission on Higher Education. The only thing we could find was a Facebook page. It's possible anybody listening to me from NCHE, if you have a website, would be very grateful to visit it. But we did search the internet far and wide. There's not a website, and it's questionable because you should be able to go to the NCHE page and see each university how many. Because I know, being part of accreditation process before in my own lifetime, I know that every university have to report every year to the National Commission on Higher Education how many PhD holders they have per department, and but that will give the total picture of that. So
Yes, sure. I think they have it, but if they have a website, I think there is a need now for them to upgrade their website to provide those statistics. It is extremely important because every university we have in this country gives statistics to the higher education. So it relates to the qualifications of their staff. So NCSU should have that. And I think that there's a challenge. So if they can upgrade their website, they should be able to upload those information there that people can be able to get those things. It is extremely important. But for now, I can't tell you the exact figure.
Yeah, well, on this program, my producer and I, we have not been able, and others, we cannot find a website for NCHE anywhere to even go and read what the NCHE is all about. We only found a Facebook page and a number of articles written by other people. Facebook page, and I think the UNICEF had an article on them. So there is no website for that institution. But now that we don't know the number of PhD holders in the country, it's amazing that there are some universities in Liberia that offer master's degree program. You say you work in one of those programs, and at that level, at the master's degree level, it is expected that a teacher at master's degree should be all PhD holder. Is that what you're experiencing in the Vera master's degree program you teach in Liberia?
Yes. So obviously, what I don't know. I'm quite aware of the Cortical Graduate Program that is currently ongoing, the UL Graduate Program and AMEU, AMEU as well. There are other universities who have applied to offer master programs, like Advantage universities and what have you. But we know very well that the international standard, if you are to have graduate program offering masters, you should have PhD teaching masters. At the Capital Graduate School, where I lecture, yes, we have PhD holders who are also lecturing, but we also have master teaching masters there. I think that master with experience, long-standing experience, they are also teaching. Even at the universities of Liberia, the premier universities in Liberia, you still have master teaching master there. Okay? And even though they are PhD holders, but I think the most important thing is to have more PhD holder teaching who are research oriented,
Okay. So, Dr. Podah, now, in your opinion, you will moving from all these big universities, because the university you work with are the big four. The Advantage University is nowhere on the ranking. It cannot be found or cannot be seen, that you speak to a lot. But looking at these universities, the higher education, what do you think? What in your opinion? What do you think about the state of higher education in Liberia? Is it healthy? Is it unhealthy? Is it comatose, or is just wobbling along the line?
Well, I would say it's quite problematic. I wouldn't want to say it's healthy or unhealthy. There are lots of universities in Liberia, high institutions are faced with a lot of interlocking challenges. And in the 21st century, you want to know the internet, online programs, and what have you. You did your research, and you now know the results of the most, talk about universities in Liberia, the Cortical, UMU, UL, and what have you. So there are serious challenges. And one of them is that the issues of publication to internet, technology. All right, you don't have lecturers having access to internet. You don't have students having access to internet. and you even enter the program, go to the graduate school, when you enter there, no projector, but it's quite discouraging. No, let me be very frank with you. In my opinion, the government needs to do a lot. In my opinion, the administration of the various universities here need to do a lot. If you go to Cotton, the master program, their classes are quite conducive than the Purdue University. I tell you, you go to Cotton, you have AC, the chairs and everything. The environment is somehow okay. You go to AMEU, the environment is somehow okay. But in Liberia, the state of so I mean, it's frustrating. I can just tell you that the state of higher education in Liberia is critical. We need to do a lot.
Okay, you mentioned certain things, but in the last 20 years, those of in the university system, it has been very clear. Most universities, even in countries where the universities were funded 100% by the government, it became clear that the universities had to find way of funding besides the government. That no government in the world has the resources to fully fund an academic institution. And looking at the ranking, looking at the criteria for ranking universities, one of the criteria I see in Edu rank is industries. How much industries the university have, and how are these industries impacting the environment? I think that's where other universities have industries running. So, I as a professor, as a teacher in this university, are there other programs, other industries that the university is running? Because you and I know that university teachers have three functions: teaching, research, and community service. Is this function being harnessed by the institution, by the administrators of this institution?
Well, to be corrected, I don't know. And this is one of the things we're talking about now, because no universities in the world can be 100% funded by the government of that country. So you should have industry, other source of income to be able to do that. But do we have that in Liberia? I don't know. The other administrators will tell you if we have fun. As far as I'm concerned, the level of time I have spent in Liberia teaching at Coffee, I don't know. Even the state university, no, I don't know that they have anything of such. And I believe that because of the lack of those business things, so we are ranked the poorest.
Okay, okay, now we having a better understanding of how the atmosphere looks like. But Dr. Podah, have you ever done the research? Because often at times I wonder about dates. I don't know if you all wonder about that teaching at all these universities. We know that under the last administration, the administration of President Weah, his administration had this tuition-free policy for state-run institution like the University of Liberia. Have you, during those conversations with the government coming out, were there a conversation on how much it costs a single student? How much a single student costs the University of Liberia? Do you have any idea of how much a single student will cost the University of Liberia in dollars and cents?
Well, yeah, but obviously, I don't have an idea of how much a single student will cost. How much it costs for an individual to have equality education. I don't have an idea, but I believe that those in-house officers, the administrators should have that. And the issues of free education, those are things that should be discussed, before coming up with free tuition policy. It is extremely, even a country, a developed country, do they have free education policy? Then it's free country. Like, let's look at a developed country that doesn't have free education policy. Then why would Liberia have a free education policy? Do they know how much it takes? We don't even have internet. We don't have publication. The campuses, poor environment. We don't have that. Sometimes want to eat themselves, want to attend nature. Backgrounds are closed. You don't have those things. So you want to look at a very conducive environment. I think it's very expensive. So the issues of breaking free tuition, you know, it was something that the past administration needed to study it. Even the current government will have to study very well because this is highly political and people want to use that thing to pay politics out of it. I believe those things are intended to just make university to fully perform because the government may not have the capacity to adequately fund those very universities. And if the government is lacking in providing funding, if the government is not able to provide funds to adequately, support those universities, how or what do you think? Are they going to adequately perform? No.
Yeah, but again, I think because sometimes government make decisions. I know I was working long time ago. I work in a particular area. Government make decision is one of the community service of the university teachers to be able to sit and say this is the calculation of how much it costs a student per year, and then ask government. This government is matching that with that, and then you know how the fund is. But what are your let's come back to let me come to teaching now. We talk about research. You talk about the quality of research. We talk about funding to the university. But let's come to the teaching. I will start with the teachers. What are the benefits of that teachers get at the various universities in Liberia? I mean, you have quite a few. But what are the benefits? Do you have allowance for research? Do you have allowance for clothing? Do you have allowance for transport? I mean, what benefits do you get as a teacher? Are the teachers in Liberia the university teachers well paid in Liberia?
I don't want to use the word they are well paid. I think the government is trying, but let's take out the word well paid. No. What I don't know, those who are doctorate degree holder and lecturers somewhere around 1,000, 1,006, 1,007, and then those who are professors and they distribute professorial rank, and this is one of the problems. But I believe what I don't know that those lecturers who are there for me from the beginning. I'm an assistant professor. All right, I'm an assistant professor 2, and I'm yet to get to the rank of assistant professor 1 from there associate professor. So I don't know, but what I get currently somewhere around 8,005, 8,006 around there. What you take home, but is that enough? So I will say that is obviously well paid. Looking at the economy, a lot needs to be done. Okay, a lot needs to be done. So I really want to. I don't know how much those who are professor, associate professor, I don't know how much they are making. But I'm just telling you for some of us who are in that rank. But I believe that there are other people. I strongly believe that other people that I know that I have published papers then, but they are yet considered as professor. The more you go is by professor, it comes with financial benefits.
Okay,
but
so
the issues of being well-paid professors, let us underline that.
Okay, so I don't know how much you know about this. On the civil servant ranking, and for in the government university, on the civil servant ranking, how is a professor in the University of Liberia ranked? Is he ranked as a deputy minister, at the rank of a deputy minister, or rank of an assistant minister? Do you have any knowledge on that?
Well, like for me, you will only know. It is difficult to give you as to whether professors are ranked as deputy minister or assistant minister. It's the only way you will get to know that if you know the salaries of assistant minister, the salaries of minister, deputy minister, assistant minister, and you can be able to compare it with what a lecturer has at the university. Then that will be able. It is only through that salary structure that you will know that they are part. But I believe if we have ministers who are taking 1,000 flights around there, taking home. If we have assistant ministers or deputy ministers who are taking 1,005 or maybe 2,000, then we can say that a professor or assistant professor or professor are ranked as either assistant minister or deputy minister. Like that. But to be very frank, I can tell you that assistant minister is taking XYZ amount, and this is what a professor, associate professor, one associate professor two taking. So we need to do that analysis to know.
Okay, I was speaking to the organigram, right? I was speaking to the structure of the university. I know since it's a government-owned university, there may be a structure that says, as a professor, you are civil servant at this level, and then you can now look at what level they have a deputy minister as civil servant. So be as a research that we have to do and look at that. But yeah, then you know that level, and then you can see what's the benefit of that person if at the university. Because university professors, I believe they are civil servants at the public university, and that should give us an idea of if they are receiving these benefits and these packages. So when you look at the teachings,
I think we should do some research to come up with it. So where everybody wants for them to be appointed in government. So if you are in the academy and you realize that, oh, I'm at this rank, even if I cannot go in government to be a deputy minister or minister, this is what I'm getting into, keep fighting around. So you really want to put pressure on government for appointment. You know, there is a research that I think we should do that. I can volunteer to invite on that. You and myself can look at that to see, so that people can be aware of, look, you are a professor, you are an assistant professor, this is your rank, you are equitable to this. If you are in government, this is similar thing that you will, you know. That will also help to reduce tensions on government. About political appointments.
Yeah, because I know that in countries like Nigeria, a professor ranking in their civil servants rank, a professor is at the same rank as a permanent secretary in the government ministry. So, and a permanent secretary in any government ministry in Nigeria is also at the rank of a deputy minister, because they are the one in charge of the ministry during the political year. When the minister proper leave, they run the institution. They are civil servants that goes up the rank until they get to this place called permanent secretary. But so, I mean, if you look at the cost of living in Liberia and what you share, then it means that professors and from assistant professor, you are well paid. I mean, $1,700 is good salary in Liberia. If you look at it, the economy in Liberia, it should be good for anybody who is an assistant professor. So I think we should be able to congratulate the government. I mean, it's not if we do the ranking and see, but the cost of living in Liberia, that could be a good paid being a assistant, how they call it, assistant professor. So the question that one of my colleagues is asking is that if this structure is happening in a university like Liberia, it may be different in other universities. Why is there so much Roman or illegal activities happening in our higher institution? Bribes from students, the selling of grades, because there was a big scandal in University of Liberia last year in the law school, where one of the teachers at the law school were accusing some of her colleagues in that school of collecting bribe, of favoritism. So why if teachers are well paid, why do you think these things are still going on in the higher institutions in Liberia?
To be very honest, people just have their own attitude, way of behavior, unethical behavior. You know, you may be well paid, but if you are just someone who is immoral, you will obviously be involved in immoral attitude. So I don't want to think that it is the salary that you just mentioned, all right, based on your comparative analysis, they should be, I mean, somehow you should appreciate the salaries of professors at a university compared to civil servants. But yet, indeed, we still have people who will want to involve themselves in corrupt attitude, which is actually on a series of grades and series of pamphlets and all these things, which is wrong. I think a level of administration, I can tell you safely, like in Advantage University, where you studied there before going to the US, if we see you setting pantry and taking a bath, obviously you will go out. Okay, but other students start to be and complain that they pay money to lecturers, to pay money. So, but the issue then is, why would they, if you are given short a salary that can help you sustain your family, why would you want to go ahead and begin to take grab? So that it comes from the activities that these professors are involved into, that maybe will lead to unethical acts in the university.
Are your students happy at the university, or this university affiliated? Are your students happy? Are they excited to be in school?
Well, okay, thank you. I think for me, I will not speak generally, but I think most of my students are happy. They come to my class and they can come to this little prof. We are very happy. I mean, I think we are learning. And one of the things I do, I don't take grants for any student. I have my book, my publications, and then what have you. You have the prescribed reading, and you have those materials, and you read your materials, and then once you read your material, you respond to all of the requirements, the assignments, and you get grades. So some of the students are happy they are learning. Just day before yesterday, one of my students came to me and said, "Oh, Prof, in my office, your name is all around." People came out and said, "Oh, Doc, this is the young dog we're talking about, Dr. Podah. Thank you, and your name is all around." I mean, we are learning. So what is that? Because I refuse to accept that. There are other people who believe that they don't want to go, they are working because, after work, they don't want to come to class. At the end of the day, they want to get a grade. But this doesn't happen. So some of my students are actually happy that they are learning. So when you say generally, are the students happy? I only know about those who are in my reach.
Yeah, but once you enter a university, any university around the world, just by walking in the doors, there's a different atmosphere. And you can see the atmosphere of learning. You can feel the atmosphere of excitement to learn. So all these universities you affiliate with, when you wake up in the morning, you drive through the gates of this university or goes to the halls of this university. Do you see students who are excited, is the environment welcoming as an environment of intellectuals who have come together to make high scholarly decisions that will affect our country in the future? Do you see that in your student, or do you see them as just going through the rigors of having another university degree, but they are not interested in being a university, but knowing that a university degree may be the road of putting bread and butter on the table?
Okay, so from 1 to 10, I would say 8 or 7. Because, like, for instance, if I enter class, before entering class, you will see almost 75% of the students are in class already waiting for the lecturer. And you can see that excitement on their faces. So with that, from my experience, both in Cotton and that of UL, you can see that because you can only get to know this from the willingness of the student. If the students will be struggling to come to class on time, and waiting for the professor, or the professor is in class, you look at the numbers of students that can determine, that can inform this kind of answer. So yes, I can say that students are willing to learn, they are excited, and they are willing. It's just the environment. So it left with the lecturer to continue to create the environment for those people to learn well.
Okay, Dr. Podah, thank you so much for having you. I have one question, then with Sherry and I will bring the show to an end. The one question I have is this, and it happened to give, that's the final part, students in your university. What are the university that you affiliate with? Does a student own books? Are there bookstores on the university campus? Are students buying books? Are they excited to purchase these publications? Is there any recommendation that for every class the student must have at least at least 2 books or 3 books for a course?
Yes, that is a recommendation. I have a planned meeting with my boss, Dr. Wakenyon, and this is some of the things. Even it's a recommendation to higher institutions. We need to encourage that every course, you don't have one course having a particular textbook. There should be recommended readings. All right, we don't have that. It is only at the Continental Graduate School. You will not see a particular course that says these are the recommended readings for this particular course. I have not seen it. All right. At the UL, yes, I do it. For me, for the LES, I have recommended readings. Those are books that I have authored. At the Advantage University, you will see that they will tell you this particular course, these are the list of books that you have to pay. And what they do, they pay to the administration, to the finance office, they buy those books and they read. All right. And that is what we need to recommend to our higher institutions. If you have a book, like for instance, you say this is a research course, these are the recommended books that you need to get. So when you have other books listed, maybe in your course guide or course syllabus, you have them and you have all of the recommended readings, it will help. But I have not really seen that. Maybe other lecturers are doing it, but no. What I see, pamphlet. But to see the list of books the students are going to do, in fact, you will have to tell students you have to.
Dr. Ponda, we are losing you again. But ladies and gentlemen, we have been speaking with Dr. Ase Ponda. He's a doctor of public administration. He works at several universities in Liberia, the University of Liberia, and at the graduate school, Cotton University at the graduate school, the Advantage University of West Africa, and there's a fourth place university he mentioned that he affiliates with. So we have been having here on this program, and it's been excited. Just looking at higher education, you can see the issues, the challenges that we have, and that we go into. Dr. Ponda is calling back because his phone went off, so let me just end the thing. Okay, Dr. Ponda, we're just saying thank you so much for being on the show. We will invite you again where the viewers can see you when your internet is working, so that we can have further conversation on this matter. Thank you so much for your time, sir.
All right. Yeah, I would love for. Yeah, thank you so much for inviting me to your platform. Yeah, we can have a very good time, and we can discuss some of my publication. Even my dissertation, we could discuss and talk deep about the issues of having recommended readings. That is rare. Students, you have to tell students, look, you must have this book. They are not waiting to get those materials. They prefer pamphlets where people will go and photocopy books that they are not authored and come and sell to students. This is quite frustrating.
Are you saying that is taking place because that is unethical and that is a crime? Are you saying that in our educational system we have lecturers that photocopy books and sell it to the students? Is that what you're saying, Dr. Ponda?
Yes, a pamphlet.
Pamphlets.
A pamphlet is just pamphlet. They just go and get people's ideas and they copy it and sell it to students. And students they go and buy those things, And this is what we need to discourage. This is what I'm saying. So we should encourage local publication. People indigenize those things, and you have it. You have just come up with a list of reading. Students go and buy those books for the particular course and begin to study it, rather than coming up with pamphlets. It's unethical. You are not the author of that book. You went there, you get a book, you photocopy it, you just copy it from there, you have a pamphlet, and you are selling it to the students. It's very unethical. And we have to discourage those attitudes.
Well, if it's happening in any of our university institution and the National Commission on Higher Education is watching this program along with university officials, that is highly unethical in our field. As one of the members of this great association, I think it's something that we should clamp down on. It's discouraged intellectual development, it discouraged research, it discouraged a lot of things. And besides that is plagiarism.
Yeah.
And that's an academic crime. But thank you so much, Dr. Ponda. Mr. Sharif, you want to come on and let's close the show? He's got it back.
I think he wants to call back to just close. Yeah, let's definitely close with him.
We're trying to close up now. But definitely we have that conversation. We invite you so that we can have more conversation in the direction.
Yeah, so I was saying something about the high commission. I think Professor Walker, you're an experienced movement. He's doing well, that these are some of the things that he wants to bring on board to discourage the issues of welfare, and encourage publications, people will be able to author and then have these things on the market coming up with books. These are things that Professor Walker is working towards. The High Commission is committed to that. There are a lot of challenges, but they are working on that. But we need the support of state universities, administrations of higher institutions, to do that.
Okay, thank you, Dr. Podah. Thank you for having. We'll definitely get you back in another time to have that conversation. But have a wonderful evening. Thank you so much. John. Yes, sir.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Yeah, we have 3 more minutes to have it. I mean, the last one was a big one. That is anybody listening to us. I've been in the area for a while, so full disclosure, forgive me for disclosing this. I've been
that's good. That's good.
I've been out of the classroom since I was 15 years old, and this is challenging. That should not happen in any environment called a university. There's a professor who had to say that there are some people who should not be 15 kilometers close to any university environment.
But you're right. No, Dr. Josh, I thought it was a great interview. I think
should not be one of them. Yes, sir.
No, I thought it was a great interview. I think one thing that did not surprise me at all when he started mentioning that professors are printing these materials, these books that they did not author, and they are actually selling to students as pamphlets. That did not surprise me at all. It's surprising that over 20 years later, they're still doing the same thing, because when I was in the University of Liberia, that was happening. When I was in high school, that was happening. Teachers in high school were printing pamphlets and students have to buy it. I went to LU, it was happening in LU. At the time, we didn't care. We didn't know whether those books were authored by those professors, but we knew that because of the scarcity of books in the country, that these professors were just bringing their own material. And we just thought, whoa, this guy, he's good. He wrote his whole summary, he make a pamphlet, and we purchased it. So that part really kind of surprised me that is still going on 2024 later.
Well, if you were there to doing it, definitely is something that we should frown on. Is plagiarism. That's the number one academic crime. That's right. Plagiarism cannot be a part of any academic environment. And besides that, I agree with you on that point, because when you have the university environment and teachers are researching, what happened is that you are able to individualize the education system.
That's right.
If I came to the US and got a master's degree and took up my book from here there, the theory will be the same. But what we call contextualization of the system will become the challenge. And perhaps that's why we have this challenge in our country, because we are not contextualizing our learning to fit our environment. We are not teaching our students things to fit the environment. So we are photocopying these books from Europe, we are photocopying these books from the United States and giving it to our students, but it doesn't make sense to them because it's not contextualized. And that's why in every university environment, research becomes number one. When I did this stuff, I was pleasantly excited and also surprised that LU 2024 has 618 publications, or whether it is from teachers who are overseas who come in and out of LU, or whether they are on the campus. That's 618 publications. That's great. But
not to interrupt you, that I think, that same research looking at, when I look at it, it actually does say that most of those studies came from overseas. Like, I think I saw one of our friends on there, Dr. Kafumba Dukle, the gentleman is right here in Philadelphia, and so and so most of those studies are sent. And think about Dr. Emmanuel Clark, he pulled a whole study together and sent it to Liberia. The University of Liberia can take credit for that. You can sit here and pull a whole study together and send it over there. They can take credit for that publication, and so a lot of those are not local professors or local intellectuals who are writing those studies, but these are studies coming from abroad, coming from the United States, coming from Europe and different parts of the world. Yeah.
Yeah. And as we conclude, I know you want to run. There are, I mean, just to our audience, there are universities are assessed on 5 skills: the teaching, the research environment, the quality of the research. Now, the quality of the research means that my good friend Augustine Sherry write a book. That book is being sold in a university. How many people are citing that book when they write? So citation, which University of Liberia got 11,102 last year, is extremely important. That's the quality of your research. That whatsoever you research is exciting other researchers around the world, and they are citing that documentation. And then industries. And that's where many of our institutions have problems, Mr. Sherry. Many of our institutions does not have. In fact, one of the things that our teachers should have been striking, I know they're striking against. Recently the Senate and the House of Representatives had retreats. In those retreats, I think the Senate retreat they spent something like, I did not read it, so what I'm hearing on other stations, they spent something over 50,000 on the presenters, those who presented. Now, if you have an institution like University of Liberia or any academic institution that runs a consulting firm, is teachers from those universities in many serious countries that goes to these academic conference, they become the resource people. They become the one that lead. They become the one that
like subject matter experts.
Exactly, like in Nigerian military, even here in the U.S. military. When you have an appointment to go to, professors from the university are contracted to go to what a place named West Point to teach courses in international relations, to teach courses in foreign policy and diplomacy, to teach these courses in understanding the contours of Liberian diplomatic. Or I think I was saying something on a forum, and someone was saying, I don't know what Liberian diplomatic law have been for the last 20 years, and I'm able to correct. No, under Ellen Johnson Sirleaf, it was developmental diplomacy. The former minister Gaffron was very clear of that, of his layout with that. But some people say, "Oh, I don't know." George Weah, perhaps we're still learning what it was all about. I know it was developmental diplomacy when it came to the Ellen Johnson government foreign policy outlook. So it is university professor that's supposed to be getting those kind of contract, and that's how university makes their money. University has industry. Mr. Sheriff, in 2000 and something, in my former university, were asked to go to South Korea to go to one of the leading advanced university in the world called Semyo. We went there to honor study. Those people makes $1 billion profit. Wow. $1 billion profit from their industry every year. And what they have an entire industry for what is this food that you like to eat, Mr. Sheriff? This healthy food. They have an entire healthy food industry, right? So you can get what is it? Tofu. Yeah.
Tofu. Yeah.
Different kind of tofu or granola, all those things. The industry was facing it and marketing in the environment. People were excited and they were making money. It's that money that supported a university. We have to change the way we think university. It's no longer the same. It's no longer just taking money from government, because no government in this world has the amount of money to fund university. I will finalize this if you want to how to call it. When I worked in a university and there was a strike, and the Nigerian government at that time was saying, "Oh, we fund this." The teachers in Nigerian university did his research. And a single student in Nigerian university at that time was paid with the tuition, the cost of being a university was $350,000. It was that research they took to the government and said, if you think you're giving us money, each of these students that you said should be in a university enjoying or some kind of sponsorship, it is 350,000 naira that each of them costs. And that's how those of us who were in the private university setting could be boastful, because our students were not paying 350,000 naira. Yeah, we had to research that it is important to have private university, and people say, "Oh, private university is so expensive, it's so expensive." But how much the government spent on one student in a university? That's why
Wow. I know, Dr. George, thank you. I think this was a great topic, and definitely we have to schedule a part 2 to this particular discussion. I think there's just so much that we could just go on about. I was very surprised again when you brought up the subject about bribery. Students bribing teachers, professors to get grades, and it was not denied. He did not deny it. And it was very clear that these practices are still ongoing. Um, and look, we all start. I started at the University of Liberia. I got my secondary education in Liberia, so nothing against our education system. But it is no wonder though that when we leave from here, those of us who have opportunity to travel overseas and you in different parts of the world, when you leave from here with your credentials, it is no wonder that our fellows on the ground, our brothers and sisters on the ground, they see you as a threat because number one, they just devalue their education and have respect for your education. And so that is kind of intimidating factor for them, but it should not be that way. My education overseas should be equivalent to the education in Liberia. If I'm talking to a master degree holder in Liberia, we should be able to intellectualize, conceptualize, and be able to have a discourse that we will both know that we're talking about the same thing here. But I should not be talking about one thing and you're like, I've never heard about it. And so there's so much work to be done in the university system, especially, the University of Liberia. Let's just put it bluntly. A lot of work needs to be done, and we just hope and pray that things get better. Or else we're going to be bringing up a whole generation of young people who have credentials, but they cannot defend that credential. And it's a sad state for our country.
Yeah, and that's very true, Mr. Sheriff. I totally agree with you on that point. That there's no reason why anybody, any part of the world, should. The whole thing about university, for those who want to know more and learning for us, is a research environment.
Mhm.
And if I conduct a proper research, I can go to University of Peter, Brian, and Tom that nobody knows how to call it.
That's
Once my
right.
research is properly conducted, my facts are properly stated, people from Harvard University will be looking for me because they have
That's
read,
right.
they have read that paper that I've written, and they have
Mhm.
the sense and the importance of it and the need to how to call it. And that's where you start your networking. Dr. Ponda talked about going to conferences. And that's where you started because you do your research and you pay some money. Again, I don't know how much Liberia University do that most that or the time of my life in the university system. The university pay for you to attend at least 2 academic conference every year. 100% paid for. Uh, some local, maybe one international because international is very expensive. But after some time, as you travel, as your paper become well appreciated, people start paying your fee. They pay for you to come to this
They
conference.
pay for you to come to conferences. Yeah.
So I used to sometimes I need to tell my colleagues in the university, there's no reason why I will use that word proper, a proper university professor should sit down and be claiming that he's broke, claiming that
Yeah.
he can't have money. Because
And
once
waiting for
your
bride. Yeah.
research, your research will do the work for you. Your research will open the doors for you. People will call you from funny places. And, during my life, I had calls from India.
Yep.
I didn't during my life. I had calls from Oxford University. I didn't go to any hard prestigious university, but there was a research that Oxford wanted to do. A colleague of mine that we met in Japan at the United Nations University said, "Look, there's a friend I have here. Let's work with him." So networking become very, very important. Going to these conferences is not a a torture, but you
Yeah.
attend these conferences and you allow people to know your mind. You allow people to know where you're working from, where you're working on. And once
And
you have
Dr.
people interested in it, you have that opportunity open for
And
you.
Dr. Josh, I'll just say one last thing here, and I'll let you close the show here. But I'm really where my surprise is. When I was getting ready for this show too, I just went back and I just used two countries, Ghana, Nigeria. I
Mm.
wanted to know the percentage of local government officials in Ghana, how many of them actually got their credentials in Ghana or overseas.
Mm.
And when you look at over half of them got their credentials in Ghana.
Yeah.
The University of Kumasi was all the way at the top there. They got their credentials in Ghana. Nigeria, similar story. And whenever they went overseas, they went to the UK and other places. Maybe America was a very small number for them, but UK, they went. But most of them got their credentials in that country. But when we look at our government officials, right, most of them, they have their overseas credentials. Whether it's your brother Dixon Sibo, He came to the University of Colorado here. I know he was in my state. Whether it is Amara Cornell, all of those then, the Mo Alius, you name them, go down the list. You can go from the Senate all the way down to the civil servant department, I mean to local departments, and you can name them. You can name them, and that is why, because of that, their children are being shipped overseas to come and do the same thing like they did. They have no interest in promoting the higher education system. Matter of fact, they have no interest in working with. I mean, I was surprised when we had Senator Comini we said on the show here when he was talking about the quality of education in public schools back in Maryland County. Where has that prestige gone? It's gone. It's dying away, and no one to stand up. No more young community we said to stand up and say, look, we will go to Kipalmas High School. We will go to Todman High School. We will go to Great Dialysis. Nobody's doing that. Everybody's shaping our children overseas. And because of that, there is no incentive to make the education system better from secondary all the way to tertiary education. It's sad.
Yeah. And I totally agree with you on that point, because one of the ranking too for EduRank, one of the ranking of university when we're in the system is we had the National Commission on Higher Education visit. That's why I'm surprised when Dr. Podah said they have to negotiate. The National Commission on Higher Education don't go to school to negotiate with presidents. They go to school to tell presidents, this is the policy, this is the guidelines we're giving you, we expect you to follow this guideline. Yeah, you can have some conversation over how we can help you, but you don't say, if teachers are selling pamphlets, higher education don't come to have conversation about selling. It's plagiarism. It's an academic crime. No one who plagiarizes should be at least 50 kilometers near any university in the world. That everybody who works in the university system knows. So you're very right. The quality of your alumni. You see, as I was doing research, I went to each of these universities. University of Liberia have 11 notable alumni. 11 notable alumni. So the quality of your alumni is extremely important, and maybe the alumni office need to get out there, start working to identify the alumni and set them and say, these are the people who graduated for University of Liberia. This is the impact they are knowing. Because I know that when I was working at LU, I have members of the legislature who were in my class, and then I know Eric Snow too. He went to the University of Liberia. So there are some of notable Liberians who I think his name is on that list that walked through the University of Liberia, and you cannot have good proper CC alumni at your university still be broke, because these alumni supposed to fund, and university spends millions of dollars every year tracking their alumni, and then the alumni is interested in bringing funding back. So Harvard University, most of the alumni. Most of the scholarship funding come from the alumni. Most of the backing come from the alumni. The alumni bring billions of dollars to them every year, and that's why tracking them becomes very important in funding and financing our institution.
Yeah.
But thank you.
I'll let you close the show, man. Close it up and do your thing, and we'll see you next week.
Ladies and gentlemen, you have been listening to Uncover. We've been looking at the state of the higher education in Liberia. We talked to Dr. Asif Podah, a young university assistant professor, and you have an understanding, clarity of how our system is. But it's a fact. Every one of us need to work towards building a strong and competitive higher education in Liberia. We can no longer be at the end of the line. Our university, the University of Liberia, the Liberia College, used to be very respectable in Liberia. Many people around the world came to Liberia to get an education. But today we are ranked 189th in Africa and 5th in the world. That is not a ranking that we can be excited of. That is not a ranking we can be happy with. But so until we meet again, let us think about higher education and see how we can work towards that. But do have a wonderful, wonderful week ahead. We look forward to seeing you next week when we'll be having another edition of Liberia Shall Rise. And at this time, it's going to be Mr. Sheriff bringing us to the table to have table talk. Have a good night.